Thank you very much for coming. This is a great crowd. I'm Susan James, Assistant Director here at Bayliss Library. Ken Miller's on vacation, but he's also in the back row. He snuck in. Thank you to Mustard's Retreat for adding us to their tour. Thank you to the Friends of the Library for the refreshments, and also the library's program committee represented by Debbie Lehman in the back. I wanted to mention this Thursday, Dr. James Walker will be here at 7 p.m. He's our resident humanities professor. He'll be speaking about profiling prehistoric man, the caves of Chauvet and Lascaux in France. So hope you can come hear him. We're very pleased to be able to host Mustard's Retreat tonight. David Tamilevich and Michael Huff are here from Ann Arbor, excuse me. They've been performing together for more than 30 years. Since their visit here in 2009, they've done extensive touring, including to Eastern Europe. They've been described as representing everything that is best about folk music. Their CDs will be available for purchase after the concert. Please welcome Mustard's Retreat.
We just came over from Calumet last night. So
before that, we were playing in Wisconsin, so it's good to be back. It's good to be back in the land of the pure.
You know, we're from down by Ann Arbor, and we tell everybody, our friends who come from all over the country, go up north, cross the bridge, you know, and just, you know, that's really Michigan. It's a, you know, I try to explain to them, I say it's a spiritual thing, you know. I mean, it really is. When you cross that bridge, the world opens up. And we said that to them last night at Calumet, and somebody said, yeah, the Houghton Bridge. Now you folks are probably the only ones who are going to get that. We're heading to New England tomorrow, and they won't get it at all. You know, we always say, you know, hi, we're from Michigan, you know.
And then if people get it, you know, then you know.
And then they'll go like that. So, all right. So here's a song.
This is a downstate song. It's called the Great Lakes Fishing Trade. Usually we tell the audience it's an up north song, you know. Well, we signed on at Charlevoix aboard the Mary Jean. Me and my shipmate Davy, we both turned 17, and we stowed our gear up forward. And our day's work soon be laid. We learned the ropes the hard way in the Great Lakes fishing trade. So call hands to the braces, close haul and underway. Oh, you never spit to windward in the Great Lakes fishing trade. The skipper was a Scotsman, and a sober man was he. To whistle our catch-up Mackinaw for a week's debauchery. And the first mate was an Indian man, his name was Little Hawk. He'd never shout his orders, but you'd listen when he talked. So call hands to the braces, close haul and underway. Oh, you never spit to windward in the Great Lakes fishing trade. Drummond Island, south by Thunder Bay. We'll take the Huron whitefish on the skies of steely gray. Gill nuts and greedy owners make the fishing hard and lean, like a shipwreck on a sand dune that the lake had beached and clean. So call hands to the braces, close haul and underway. Oh, you never spit to windward in the Great Lakes fishing trade. There's a fog bank off Petoskey, storms in Traverse Bay. You're never far from poverty when you're in the whitefish trade. You got lake trout right off Leland, Natauch ground off Sleeping Bear, and it's icy in the rigging, but the captain, he don't care. So call hands to the braces, close haul and underway. Oh, you never spit to windward in the Great Lakes fishing trade. Call to the braces, clothes tall and underway. I never spit to win the word in the Great Lakes Country. So this is what we did. What we describe ourselves as is people ask us, "What kind of music do you play?" You know, and people love categories. And you know, I mean, it's just everybody just seems to love categories, except me. You know, I don't really like to put myself in a category, but when you have to, it's like, okay, well, what do? We play folk music. What's that? You know, we're sort of. We're in between the folk tradition and the singer-songwriter thing. It's like, because we do both of those things. And here's an example of that. This is a thing that I heard a storyteller do at a folk festival one time. And I thought, oh, I can make a song out of that. This is the true story of how, where we live in Michigan, the mosquito has come to be the state bird. Okay? And it's got a chorus on it, and don't you want to know how it goes? It goes like this. It goes, oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? When you mess with Mother Nature, she comes back to have some fun. And I say, oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? These Michigan mosquitoes have got us on the run. That's your part. Every time it comes around on the guitar, we want you to sing that just a little bit better. Remember that this is a true story. In Michigan, not long ago, mosquitoes could not fly. But they were big and bad enough to look a logger in the eye. And every spring they'd plant their feet on both sides of the stream. And they'd pick the loggers off the rafts that floated down between. Well, Paul Bunyan heard about this, and he said it would never do. He said, I'll go get reinforcements, teach those bugs a thing or two. So he went down to Texas and brought back some killer bees to try to start an insect war beneath the northern trees. Here we go now. Oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? When you mess with Mother Nature, she comes back to have some fun. And I say, oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? These Michigan mosquitoes have got us on the run. Well, the Texas bees were nasty, the mosquitoes were tough and mean. And there was buzzing and biting and stinging and fighting like no one had ever seen. But the battleground grew silent with a hush between the trees when the king of the mosquitoes met the queen of all the bees. Now he was brown and bad and handsome, with his sword and suction pipes. She was beautiful and deadly in her black and yellow stripes. As they circled around each other, looking for an opening close enough to touch antenna, little birds began to sing. And they sang this, they sang, oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? When you mess with Mother Nature, she comes back to have some fun. I said, oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? These Michigan mosquitoes have got us on the run. Now soon it seemed like they were dancing. They decided not to fight. So the war became a powwow, and the party went all night. Angry buzzing turned to humming, open war to wedding bliss. And the loggers were to mutter, nothing good's gonna come of this. So our Michigan mosquitoes are the children of that night, twice as big and twice as ugly, all in brown and yellow stripes, and they fly in tight formation, roaring like a mighty wind. They're exceptionally fuzzy, they got stingers on both ends. Come on now. Oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? When you mess with Mother Nature, she comes back to have some fun. I say, oh, Paul Bunyan, see what have you done? These Michigan mosquitoes have got us on the run. Isn't that satisfying? I mean, you know, when you all singing the same song, even if you never heard it before in your life, you know, it's all right. That's what folk music is up. Anyway, so here we go. The chorus goes like this. Well, I'm singing about this old state of mind, closest thing to heaven that I will ever find. Her Great Lakes and her rivers are flowing sweet as wine, and an old empty beer can can't buy a man a dime. That's your part. Every time it comes around, we want you to sing that a little bit better. Want to try it once? Well, I'm singing about this old state of mind, closest thing to heaven that I will ever find. Her Great Lakes and her rivers are flowing sweet as wine, and an old empty beer can can't buy a man a dime. That you got it now. I've fished her icy rivers with every kind of fly, shot straight at the partridge, though most just got away. I skied the silent forest, seen chickadees at play, and hunted the magic mushroom some secret place in May. And I'm singing about this old state of mind, closest thing to heaven that I will ever find. Her Great Lakes and her rivers are flowing sweet as wine, and an old empty beer can buy a man a dime. I love those April mornings when spring is finally here, and evenings in June full of mayflies and beer. How I love October with leaves like polished brass, and even January with the snow up to my ass. And I'm singing about this old state of mind, closest thing to heaven that I will ever find. Her Great Lakes and her rivers are flowing sweet as wine, and an old empty beer can buy a man a dime. I woke up November mornings, hungover, oh my God. I sat up on a deer stand where countless bucks have trod. I was cursing bourbon whiskey the day that I was born. From early late till late at night, never saw a horn. And I'm singing about this old state of mind, closest thing to heaven that I will ever find. Her Great Lakes and her rivers are flowing sweet as wine, and an old empty beer can buy a man a dime. Lord, I hate mosquitoes. Black flies are even worse. The flies of Lake Superior are the very devil's curse. But when you take the bitter and you mix it with the sweet, well, down she goes like a can of Stroh's, and Lord, it can't be beat. And I'm singing about this whole state of mind, closest thing to heaven that I will ever find. Her Great Lakes and her rivers are flowing sweet as wine, and an old empty beer can buy a that a good song? Jay Steelstra, you know, it's just a perfect song for it all.
Well, so this is a song by Joel Mabus. I don't know how many people know Joel Mabus. He's a wonderful singer, songwriter, musician from the Kalamazoo area. I mean, Joel, he's so good he can play your shoelaces. I mean, he
can play anything with strings on it. You know, it's really true. And he's a great individual too. He's not snooty or anything. They have all that talent, you know, and still be nice. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, Joel Mabus.
So he wrote this song. It's called "Hopelessly Midwestern," and it's a song that's about, you know, that we have all more common ground than we don't. And so this area plays a role in this story because one time we were playing in Philadelphia, and we mentioned that we were going out to Pittsburgh the next day to play. And somebody said, "Ooh, you're going out to the Midwest."
And I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "I was born in Pittsburgh. I've always considered myself an Easterner." And they looked at me like I was a bug. You know?
Oh, no, and they're very polite in that very Eastern way, and they say, "Oh no, Mr. Huff."
I didn't think it was very polite, but I mean, no. It's like basically, if you're from Philadelphia, you know, it's like somebody from Pittsburgh is like from another planet, which is what they think of the Midwest. So,
I'm from Connecticut. So I said we were going out to Connecticut a couple months later. I said, "Michael, wait and watch." So we get to Connecticut. We're playing in Hartford. And I knew the answer to this, but Michael didn't. So I said, "Okay, audience, audience about this size." I said, "We were trying to figure out, where does the Midwest start?" And they all said out loud, "The Hudson River."
That's the way they felt.
That's how most people in New England feel. And so later that summer, we were up in Rockland, Maine, at Lobster Fest. And we're playing in this tent, and we had to ask. We said, "Where does the Midwest start?" And there was an old lobsterman in the back of the tent, and he said,
"New Hampshire, and you can't get there from here."
So we
So it became a joke then with us. We went to Alaska.
Right, and we had to ask them, and they said, "We don't care." They said, "We're just north."
They were driving around with bumper stickers that said "Alaskans for global warming," you know.
Our first time ever playing up here, I think, was in the winter of 2009, and we played out in Brimley. We did a house concert, and we asked.
We had to ask the audience. Okay, Yoopers, do you consider yourselves Midwestern? We wanted to know.
Right, and this is probably the only audience. They got it in Calumet. They got it in northern Wisconsin, but most of the rest of the country wouldn't get this.
Because the answer, when we asked them, "Do you consider yourselves Midwestern?"
And they said, "No, we're just superior."
Good answer.
We like that. So,
all right.
And last night the people in Calumet said, "No, we consider ourselves North Shore."
North Shore. That's what they said.
So I don't know. So what? I mean, are you part of the Midwest here? Yeah. I was like, are you superior?
Well, I mean, downstate Michigan is considered Midwest. I mean, I think of it that way. Ohio, Illinois.
This is considered God's country.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are his two hands.
It's a good question.
All right, so here's...
Anyway, the reason we're talking about all of that is that we're going to sing you a song now called Hopelessly Midwestern. We will not insist that you sing, but we have a feeling that you probably will, all on your own, without any advice from us, because it's a great song and it's easy to sing, so please do if you want.
Now, if you live life in the middle and not on the edge, you're hopelessly Midwestern. And if a big Saturday means clipping the hedge, you're hopelessly Midwestern. You like to shop at Sears, drink a lot of iced tea, like to dance the polka and to watch TV. Then the jury is in and the critics agree. You're hopelessly Midwestern. Hopelessly Midwestern, corn-fed boys and girls. Hopelessly Midwestern, square pegs in a big round world. Now you can go
sea to shining sea. Right in the middle, that's the place to be. And if you like it like that, you're a lot like me. Hopelessly Midwestern.
Now if you think every highway should be flat and straight,
You're hopelessly Midwestern.
boy, and we drove across on 28. What a pleasure. Oh, and if you still think that sushi looks a lot like bait,
You're hopelessly Midwestern.
you like your potatoes mashed, your chicken fried, your green beans boiled, and your apples pied. Home sweet home is your double wide.
You're hopelessly Midwestern. Hopelessly Midwestern. Corn-fed boys and girls. Hopelessly Midwestern. Square pegs in a big round world. Now you can go from sea to shining sea. Right in the middle, that's the place to be. And if you like it like that, you're a lot like me. Hopelessly Midwestern.
Now if annual rainfall is a real big topic,
You're hopelessly Midwestern.
oh, and if the Pocono Mountains sound kind of exotic,
You're hopelessly Midwestern.
if you like Gerald Ford as much as Betty, and the big cornfield looks mighty pretty, and you'd rather go to hell than to New York City,
You're hopelessly Midwestern. Hopelessly Midwestern. Corn-fed boys and girls. Hopelessly Midwestern. Square pegs in a big round world. Now you can go from sea to shining sea. Right in the middle, that's the place to be. And if you like it like that, you're a lot like me. Hopelessly Midwestern.
So a couple of years ago, anybody ever been out to Mystic Seaport in Connecticut? A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. An old whaling, whaling center right on Long Island Sound. And every year, every June, they hold the Mystic Sea Music Festival. So they called us up a couple years ago, and they said, well, we'd like you to come play at our festival. And I said, well, you realize we don't do a whole lot of sea shanties. And they said, oh no, we don't want you to do that. You know, you're from Michigan, you're exotic.
It's called the Thimble Island Ghost. It's got treasure, it's got islands, pirates, hard to beat.
Oh, my name is George Lindsley. I lived here long ago. My father was a lobsterman out of Lanfear's Cove. From Brantford up to Sachem's Head, for oysters and for clams, till a British frigate caught us, and I was a pressed man. The year was 1694. A kingship came around and boarded father's fishing boat out on Long Island Sound. The boatswain said, here's a fine lad, we'll take you on board. Now you're in the service of the king and the articles of war. Heave away, me Johnnies, steady as she goes. Heave away, me boys, and let her go. Well, I was young and reckless, and I wanted liberty, and service on a kingship is one step from slavery. We captured a French smuggler out on the open sea. The captain named the prize crew off, and that included me. But we were taken off Montauk Point as the wind began to lag. last swift and well-armed sloop of war that hoisted the black flag. The pirates gave us all a choice to sink or join their crew. I never gave it half a thought about what I would do. Heave away, me Johnnies, steady as she goes. Heave away, me boys, and let her go. Heave away, me Johnnies, steady as she goes. Heave away, me boys, and let her go. Well, we sailed halfway round the world, which was just fine with me. We were hunted men, but brothers in a crude democracy. Pirates lived for freedom both ashore and afloat, and we each got an equal share, and every man a vote. Now I'm not going to tell you of all the things we did, but I'll reveal that my last duty was I sailed with Captain Kidd. We buried his gold treasure, but with bones it had to lie. So we all cast lots, and in the end, it was me who had to die. Heave away, me Johnny, steady as she goes. Heave away, me boys, and let her go. Or restless spirit ever longs to call it somewhere its home. The Thimble Islands anchor me, still I'd like to roam. But I'm bound to pirate treasure for the wicked things we did. But I'm free if ever it be found, and I know where it's hid. Every decade now I toss some silver out into the tide. The summer people come in search, and sometimes they will find. It amuses me to watch them work. It preserves the mystery, and I like their jokes and laughter, and enjoy the company. Heave away, me Johnny, steady as she goes. Heave away, me boys, and let her go. Heave away, me Johnny, steady as she goes. Heave away, me boys, and let her go. Thank you. Well, like I said, we love being in libraries. Library was my first job. Actually, I was in middle school. I worked in the library. I worked all the way through high school. First college job, second college job. I transferred.
So David knows his Dewey Decimal.
So this is a poem, very famous poem. I was back at my mom's in Connecticut a couple of years ago, and Michael tends to know what he wants to write about when he writes a song. I do not, which can cause some problems. But I come up with tunes, and then I have to figure out where I'm going to go with it. But in this case, I come up with this music, and I said, what am I going to do? And I looked, and there was a family book of poetry that my aunts used to read to me at bedtime. And I opened it up, and it fell open to one of my favorite poems. And
by golly, it fit that tune you made up. That's called a serendip. Or a double dip or something. And it does. It fits really well. So, it's funny, David has always loved this poem, and me, when I was a kid, I thought it was creepy. So it's, we're just different about stuff.
All right. Well, I tune this. I'm going to tell you this is another literary masterpiece, in my opinion. Though it's kind of a questionable, where we do get a little twisted here. I think this is written about 100 years ago by a New York newspaper man, who I think was the originator of the fractured fairy tale, because he loved to take fairy tales and twist them. His name was Guy Wetmore Carroll. And this is a story called The Embarrassing Episode of Little Miss Muffet. Now, Little Miss Muffet discovered a tuffet, which hadn't occurred to the rest of us. And as 'twas a June day, and just about noonday, she wanted to eat like the best of us. Her diet was whey, and I hasten to say it is wholesome, and people grow fat on it. The spot being lonely, the lady not only discovered the tuffet, but sat on it. A rivulet gabbled beside her and babbled, as rivulets always are thought to do, and dragonflies sported around and cavorted, as poets say dragonflies ought to do. When glancing aside for a moment, she spied a horrible sight that brought fear to her. A hideous spider was sitting beside her, and most unavoidably near to her. Albeit unsightly, the creature politely said, "Madam, I earnestly vow to you, I'm penitent that I did not bring my hat. I should otherwise certainly bow to you." Though eager to please, he was so ill at ease that he lost all his sense of propriety, and grew so inept that he clumsily stepped in her plate, which is barred in society. This curious error completed her terror. She shuddered, and growing much paler, not only left Tuffet, but dealt him a buffet, which doubled him up in a sailor's knot. It should be explained that at this he was pained. He cried, "I have vexed you, no doubt. Your fist's like a truncheon. You're still in my luncheon," was all that she answered. Get out. The moral is this. Be it madam or miss, to whom you have something to say, it is only absurd if you get in the curd, but it's rude if you get. I don't know if you can find any of Guy Wetmore Carroll's poetry. He did a lot of those. He just.
I think that's what happens when you give a poet a grant and say, "We'll pay you by the word." So here's the creepy one. Actually, the best beloved of children's poems, called Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod.
Blinking and blinking and nod, one night sailed off in a wooden shoe. Sailed on a river of crystal light into the sea of dew. Where are you going, and what do you wish? The old moon asked the three. We have come to fish for the herring fish that live in the beautiful sea. Nets of silver and gold have we, said Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. The old moon laughed and sang a song as they rocked in the wooden shoe. And the wind that sped them all night long ruffled the sea of dew. The little stars were the herring fish that lived in the beautiful sea. Now cast your nets wherever you wish, never feared are we. So cried the stars to the fishermen three, Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. All night long their nets they cast to the stars in the twinkling foam. Then down from the sky came the wooden shoe, bringing the fishermen home. 'Twas all so lovely to sail, it seemed as if it could never be. And some folk thought 'twas a dream they dreamed of sailing that beautiful sea. But I shall name you fishermen three, Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. Blinkin' and blinkin' are two little eyes, and Nod is a little head. And the wooden shoe that sailed the skies a wee one's trundle bed. So Shut your eyes now as mother sings of wonderful sights to be, and you will see all those beautiful things as you rock on a misty sea, where the old shoe rocked the fishermen three, blinking, blinking and now. How many people remember that poem? You know? It's like, I think he, what was the name of the guy that wrote that?
Guy Wetmore Carroll? No.
No.
Anyway, this one's really creepy. It's called Mallin's Bridge. It's a request. Thank you for asking. Now there's a tale I'm after singing that my grandpa used to tell. He said 'twas to enlighten me and chasten me as well. You may laugh about your elders when the sun is shining bright, but be sure you're on the Christian side of Mallin's Bridge tonight. Now the village kirk is strong and tall beside the River Wyeth. There are very decent folk who said their prayers at night. But just across the river, there's a ring of standing stones, and there are buried secrets older far than human bones. Sean Mallin was a mason in the village long ago. He set to build a bridge for the convenience of the road. He thought he'd make his fortune taking pennies for the toll, but he was swallowed up by something wicked from of old. Sean Mallin was a headstrong man, and burly, so they say. And those who offered caution heard his laughter all the day. He built his bridge with stones he stole on the other side, and cursed us all with vengeance from across the River Wye. So the story grew among the elders and their wives, of those who ventured over Mallin's Bridge after midnight. For some were heard to scream, and some were never found alive, and some were rendered speechless after running for their lives. Now me, I'm no believer in such stories as they're told. Things there are around us that can chill a heart so bold. Never will I laugh again at Grandpa and his ale, for I have been across the bridge and lived to tell the tale. Oh, drunk I was at Paddy's pub and turned to call for more. There I saw a lovely lass I'd never seen before. Her wicked eye was gleaming and was greener than the sea. I was sure she'd never seen as fine a man as me. She said her name was Moira. She touched me on the knee. I offered her such gallantries as then occurred to me. She said that she would meet with me and spend the night alone across the River Wyeth inside the ring of standing stone. Well, drunk I was, it's true, and so too quick did I agree. Quickly was she gone, although I barely blinked my eye. And so I bid my friends farewell and stood out from the light, and I made my way reeling over Mallin's Bridge that night. Now mortal man was never born more cowardly than I, but drinking Murphy's whiskey throws my fear into the sky. And so I found myself feeling foolish and alone, and lusting for a woman in a ring of standing stone. Fear came sudden on me. I confess I turned to run. Something ran behind me, how I wished then for the sun. The close it came behind me, ever faster though I ran. And breath I felt and eyes I saw that were no beast nor man. Well, I ran a fearing more for for my own soul than for my life. So I saw the moon was gleaming on the river Wyeth. What it was that hunted me, I venture not to say, for devils walk in many forms that shun the light of day. I ran and fell and ran again just like a man possessed. If I had been the slower, I refused to make a guess. I became a humble man and glad to be alive, by coming nigh the village kirk and safe across the Wyeth. So tell me of your weary faith and of the worldly load. Tell you of the tracks of cloven hoofs there in the road, where I was found by day, lying shivering in the dirt, with rents of claws and stains of devil's breath upon my shirt. Ah, but still I am a drinking man, and merry now for life, for I outraced the devil back across the river Wyeth. With many a pot of ale I hoist to my own lowly feet, to the lovely Moira who I've no desire to meet. Now there's a tale I'm after singing that my grandpa used to tell. He said 'twas to enlighten me and chasten me as well. You might laugh about your elders when the sun is shining bright, but be sure you're on the Christian side of Mallin's Bridge tonight. Well, the fishing was bad, and our boat was laid up. But me and the lad were shirkers, when a chap comes into our local pub and he said that he was looking for workers. He talked like a bit of a Yank, I thought. So he stood us around or three. And he said that he's building an oily rig to get oil from out of the sea. Plenty of work for all, he said, and gas as well as oil. And all that he wanted from us local chaps was some help with the work and the toil. How much would we venture? I ventured to ask. 20, 30 pounds or more. Is that a month? I said, and he just laughed. No, a week, he said, and maybe more. Well, I went and I told the missus this yarn. I'd heard these things before. I didn't think no good would come of drilling these holes offshore. I'd rather work on the boat with the boy. But the missus, she sits and she threads. You done more there in a week, she said, than a whole ruddy year with your net. So, in the end, I took the job. And the boy, he's on the tug. I thought some good might come of it if it's only some beer in me mug. So we worked on this platform thing that they'd made. And the drill, it went hoi, hoi, hoi. And we drilled this bloody great big round hole in the bottom of the old North Sea. Well, there weren't no gas, and there weren't no oil. Not a sight nor a smell we found. Till one day, the lad, he calls to me, "Hey Dad, our tug's aground." I looked on over, and the boy was right. The water was leaving the tug and swirling on down this hole we'd made like going up our bathroom plug. I looked all around, there was no more sea. And everywhere I spied there was boats and ships and liners aground, and the fish all high and dry. Well, it looks just like a desert, boy. It's enough to make a man afraid. And the last of the sea going glug, 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 glug down this bloody great hole that we'd made. Well, then a hiss and the roar and a cloud of steam from out of our hole that came in up the head of the devil himself. "Oh, I say, what is your bloody game? You flooded all my furnaces and put my fires out, and hell's all cold and salt and wet. You're putting in it out? Blast your bloody oily rig. 'Twould make an angel sob. I shall never get hell hot again," he shouts. I've lost my bloody job. Right riled he was, but I just laughed. I don't give a mite. "You won't be burning no more souls," I said, "without a bloody light." So we did some good with our oily rig. We doused hell in a hurry. So now, when you die, there is only heaven, so no one needs to worry.
a song. It echoes all day long. Find a way to love. In wonder we are born, to mystery we're gone. Find a way to love. Take nothing for granted, dreams die implanted. You only this moment, reach out and own it. Have faith in the story, find hope in the glory, reflected in our children's eyes. Fear is such a burden. Live life for the learning. Find a way to love. Find a way to love. Take nothing for granted, dreams die implanted. You've only this moment, reach out and own it. Have faith in the story, find hope in the glory, reflected in our children's eyes. Morning greets the day. Live your life that way. Find a way to love. Find a way to love. Alright, now I'm down here with the dulcimer. We're going to do another one. Now this song, I started this song on the way back east to visit my mom. Driving through the night through the mountains of Pennsylvania, I thought I'd write a kid's song. And I got a whole page worth of lines. And the next time we're out touring, I said, hey Michael, look at this. I've got this kid song started. So I was driving and he looked at it and he read it all and he said, I like this line. and then he wrote this next song around that line. That's how we work. You know, it's like.
And actually, I think the point that I made was that, you know, this is fine, but this line here thinks it belongs in another song. I think that's what occurred to me looking at what David had written, because I think what you wrote there was probably fine, but anyway, that's the way we work, you know, kind of bounce things off each other. So this one's called The First Flower. Last fall, Dad took me with him to a curious garden store. There were rakes and pots and bags of stuff, snow blowers by the door. He said, we'll buy 100 bulbs, and please don't tell your mom. We'll plant them all throughout the yard after the raking's done. So I asked, what kind of flowers, Dad? And I promised not to tell. He said, these are extra special, son. These are yellow daffodils. Well, winter came, I forgot. Mother did not know. There was for her a grand surprise, asleep beneath the snow. Beneath the snow, beneath the snow, something Mother does not know. There before her loving eyes, we planned a spring surprise. When they bloom Dad was gone on business, and Mom was kinda sad. So I grabbed her hand and I said, come see, something's out in the yard. Well, she laughed and danced me round her, and she cried for being glad. She said the daffodil was the first flower I ever got from your dad. She said the daffodil was the first flower I ever got from your dad. Beneath the snow, something mother does not know. There before her loving eyes we planned a spring surprise. Beneath the snow, something mother does not know. There before her loving eyes we planned a spring surprise. So this song is called Waiting for the Hatch to Rise. It's about a couple of guys who made a promise to each other when they were young guys that they would meet later on a trout stream, you know. One of them didn't make it. Raven's wings, dark and stormy eyes. You were standing by this river, tying on an Adam's fly. You'd be 60 now, as I recall, if my memory serves me right. Your image comes back to me on the Manistee tonight. Reckless days of youth misspent, it's a wonder we survived. California redwoods, northern lights and western skies. You were supposed to be here now, we made a solemn vow to share this Irish whiskey, but that can't happen now. Rustic hours and smoke-filled bars we traveled all about. We'd be young forever, was there ever any doubt? Standing by this river, recalling old tales and lies. Thoughts of times gone passed away, waiting for the hatch to rise. Were the brightest, troubled though at times, the writer and the poet, and by far the sharper mind. It's a pint of Irish whiskey, 2 glasses I bring tonight. I raise them both into the wind as the mayflies take to flight. Rustic hours and smoke-filled bars I traveled all about. We'd be young forever, was there ever any doubt? Standing by this river, recalling old tales and lies.
No, I didn't drink. I didn't sleep a wink. Last night I went back in time. There was a party, the reunion kind. The boys were all in ties. Some were in disguise. The hairlines and the frames of men were not as I remembered them. It didn't matter much that we never kept in touch. Talk of work filled the in-between, back to the time when we were 17. Here's to the faded blue and gold, and here's to you, my friends. We're alright now, you're alright then, we'll be alright again. There was a book of names and the pictures of the same, and I saw familiar ones among the names that are forever gone. And time had not undone the girls I had crushes on, though all of them are married now. I found the heart was working anyhow. I laughed and reminisced with the girls I never kissed. The school years were not all misspent, and the good times were no accident. Here's to the girls who danced with me, who never did back then. You made my night, and you held me tight, and you stayed until the end. Here's to the faded blue and gold, and here's to you, my friends. We're alright now, we're alright then, we'll be alright again. We're alright now, we were alright then, we'll be alright again.
This music's my haven. I've made it my way, doing late nights and long miles on very short pay. So I'll tell you a tale that means something to me of a long ago night when I danced with Marie. I've always been uncool, never had a fast car. My own father, in pity, brought home a guitar. I was hopeless at sports and too shy around girls. He was hoping it might be a key to the world. Well, I learned the guitar and attempted to sing, till my friend said, just play bass, there's only 4 strings. So I reached for the low notes, and I'm proud to tell that the bass was a thing I found I could do well. And soon I was gigging, though I couldn't play fast. I was driving the van with the North Country grass. Just a band on the highway, so wild and carefree, just a gig and a barn dance, but I met Marie. 4 women were talking as we took a break. They sized up my buddies. I saw their heads shake. 2 still looked doubtful, but one beckoned to me and she said, "We would like you to dance with Marie." And she said, "Marie's special. You might think she's slow, but she's closer to God than the rest of us know. When you dance with her, just let her show you the way. And if you don't treat her right, there will be hell to pay." By then, one of the others had turned to her friend, and I heard she was sweeping the graveyard again. And I wondered at that as they led me along, and I decided that their faith in me their trust in me would not be wrong. And then they introduced us. I was so charmed. I could see why they wanted to keep her from harm. She was tall with a cheerful and endearing face and a mischievous spark in an innocent grace. While the other band set up and got ready to play, I listened to things that Marie had to say. She said, "My mom's in the graveyard, but I don't know where. So I go there and keep it like somebody cares. The moonlight was pretty tonight, oh at last, but it shone on the edges of some broken glass. Guys won't dance with me here. They say I'm out of my head. They drink beer and break bottles on gravestones instead." I said, You'll think I'm stupid, but I don't know how to do all these dances. Can you show me now?" And she came into focus, just to think that she knew and could help me with something that I couldn't do. I can trip on my own feet. She saw that right off. She thought it was odd that my hands were not rough. What she taught me and what I remembered and guessed made me see that this dancing was what she did best. She was light, quick, and graceful. I was clumsy and slow. There was no country dance that Marie did not know. And I stayed with her until the last dance's end. At the start we were strangers, but we turned into friends. And that's all that there was. When the music was done, someone said, "Me and Janie will take Marie home." And I grinned and bowed low, and she smiled and waved back at me. There is no one I've met who could dance like Marie. Now, I've been back to see her a number of times. She has good days and bad days, but her spirit shines like the moonlight on the edges of a broken glass. The village has made it official. It passed. They gave her the caretaker's house and stipend. When I went back to see her last summer again, her hair's gone all silver. She's lovely like that. And she lives by the graveyard with 3 or 4 cats.
So,
We got a couple more for you this afternoon. We're called Mustard's Retreat, if you've never heard of us. That's David Tamulevich. My name is Michael Huff.
that poem came out of an experience we had over in northern Wisconsin. Our first trip out of Michigan, if you don't count Toledo, which we don't. And so did this song.
Well, we learned something at that barn. It was that's a piece of fiction, but I mean, there's some realities in there. And we learned something at that barn dance, which was that we really like the folk community, and we really like playing for an audience where everybody's present, all the generations. And this is a song that David wrote from that same night.
There's a dance tonight underneath the harvest moon. Oh honey, won't you come along with me? Your folks will watch the kids. We can dance the way we did back when you were shy and I was 23. You were a lovely sight to see, dancing every dance with me. And that cotton dress you'd wear matched the flowers in your hair. And there's a magic in the night with the moon shining so bright. Oh honey, won't you come along with me? Up the floor and back again, long-time lovers, best of friends, through the changes and the years we have remained. And what was spark is now aglow, waiting only breath to blow it like him once again into a flame. Summer leans into the fall, full of stories to recall. Apple wine and autumn wind in the company of friends. And let the music find its sweet, lift the years from off our feet, and remember times we'll never see again. Tonight, underneath the harvest moon, oh folks will watch the kids. We can dance the way we did back when you were shy and I was 23. You were a lovely sight to see, dancing every dance with me. And that cotton dress you wear matched the flowers in your hair. And there's a magic in the night with the moon shining so bright. Oh honey, won't you come along with me? One more song. Boy, thank you so much. We're so glad to be back here in the Sault, and well, it is a spiritual thing. It's certainly spiritual for us to get up over that bridge and be up here. So this is a song I wrote back in the middle of November 2004 after the presidential election, and it was. I remember just feeling so grim. Things were they were so ugly, and I was thinking, how can this get worse? I'm always so naive. So, but I don't know. A couple of things. We both think there's some. I don't know, maybe it's American, but there's a lot of people making a lot of money, making us, trying to divide us, which doesn't seem right. So, and the other thing is, I don't care whether you're, a Democrat or Republican or independent. If you have to lie to make your point, if you're putting lies out there, there's something wrong. I mean, I don't know. We find that there's a whole lot more common ground, and that's what this song is about, the common ground out there. And for me, if somebody has to lie, then you have to at least consider them being a snake oil salesman. And it's like, why are you lying? It's like, what are you hiding up, covering up? And so this is a song that I wrote about trying to find that common ground. People who know how to think for themselves, and care about things like that, and maybe it's the select audience that we play for, but that's what we find. People who will come out, who value a concert like this, who put community and like the library and and other things, because I think a lot of folk music and the arts, it's all about having other values before money as your priority, and we like to play for that community. So the song is called "Ours is a Simple Faith." And it sounds great if you sing along. It goes, "Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day." Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till. Make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. No room in this heart for fear. No judgment day drawing near. Trust that inner voice you hear every day. Life's not a goal or race. It's about heart and faith and living a life of grace every day. Ours is a simple faith. Life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place
every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Trust is an open hand, making an honest stand, rooted here in the land every day. Live in the mystery, seeking the harmony here between you and me every day. Ours is a simple faith, life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day. Ours is a simple faith, life is a short embrace. Heaven is in this place every day. Hope is the ground we till, make each day what you will. Thankful for dreams fulfilled every day.
We have a mailing list if you'd like to be on our email list. About every month or two, we send out a little update on what we're doing and where we're going to be. And we would love to see you all again. And thank you, really, sincerely, for coming out. It's been great.
I said, hey, honey, don't you cry no more, because I think I see you good, man. I hit it straight for your back door. Yes, I said, hey, honey, don't you cry no more, no more, because I think I see you good, man. I hit it straight for your back door. Well, I got more time than I can use, just for sitting on your back porch, playing these old lonesome blues. So come on and let me in, let me in. I got a pocket full of funnies to show you just where I've been. Yes, and I said, hey, honey, don't you cry no more, no more, because I think I see you good, man. I hit it straight for your back door. Well, open up your window, pull down your window shade, and put the coffee on the boiler. Honey is my bed fresh babe. Well, no, don't tell me no stories now. Just you tell me, did you miss me? Then you just wanted to show me how. Yes, I said, hey, honey, don't you cry no more, no more, because I think I see you good, man. I hit it straight for your back door. Yes, I said, hey, hey.